Hey math kids, welcome back to another G67 math video. Tonight we're going to be solving addition and subtraction equations, and we're going to throw in negative numbers just to make your life miserable. Tonight's trivia question, just for fun, how big is Madagascar? This little island here off the coast of Africa. We will get the answer to that at the end of our instruction. Tonight officially our target is I can solve addition and subtraction equations with negative numbers. Let's do this thing. Take a look at this equation here. W plus 7 equals a negative 2. How would you go about solving this? Now I'm pretty sure most of you could figure it out if it was W plus 7 equals 2. And I think most of you could even figure out the answer, W plus 7 equals a negative 2, what W is equal to. But could you do it by isolating the variable and balancing out both sides of the equation? That's going to be our goal for tonight. Here's the way you do it simply. You have a positive 7 on this side. You have W plus that positive 7. You always want to get the W by itself. You want to isolate it. So the way you get rid of a positive 7 is to subtract 7. So you subtract 7 from this side of the equation. You have to subtract 7 from the other side of the equal sign as well. You have to balance both of them out. When you do that, you're left with just W minus 0 here because you had positive 7 and a minus 7. So you just got W minus 0 equals a negative 9. Over on this side, you have this negative 2, and now you're subtracting a negative 7. So you were at negative 2. Sorry, let me click that. You're at negative 2. You subtract a negative 7. You get over here to negative 9. Keep in mind that negative 2 minus 7 is really the same as negative 2 plus a negative 7. I like to think about it this way. It helps me add them more easily. All right, just pop this in and see if it makes sense. Negative 9 plus a positive 7 or plus 7 is a negative 2? Sure. You're at negative 9. You add 7, you're going to go all the way over back to right where we started at, that negative 2. I think number lines are really useful in solving these. Here's some words for the day. You have addition equation and subtraction equation. An addition equation is any equation that has addition as the operation. Subtraction equation, well, that's an equation with subtraction. A couple other things. Inverse operations. If you have an addition equation, you solve it by subtracting to isolate the variable. We're going to do this so many times tonight, you'll have these down. If you had a subtraction equation, you would use the inverse operation, the opposite of subtraction, which is addition. You would use that to get rid of this negative 2 and isolate the variable. One more time. Here's a couple of negative numbers. N plus 2 equals a negative 3. I'm going to subtract 2, use that opposite operation to isolate this n. Here's a subtraction equation. I have a n minus 2. Because of subtraction, I'm going to add 2 to both sides to isolate or to get n by itself. When you get n by itself or that variable by itself, you know what the value is. I'll walk you through 2 examples and have you try some on your own. Let me just clear my ink here. Here you have x plus 3 equals a negative 6. Well, we have to figure out what an x is. So the easiest way to do that is you have a positive 3 here. It's an x plus 3. I'm going to subtract 3 from this side of the equal sign, but I also have to subtract 3 from this side of the equal sign. Well, 3 minus 3, that's just going to leave me x over on this side. I'm going to get my pencil out here. I don't do this too often, but these just cross off. We have a positive 3 and a negative 3. We're just left with x here. Now I have negative 6 minus 3, or a negative 6 plus a negative 3. I have negative 9. Pop it in. Let's see if it makes sense. Negative 9 plus 3 is a negative 6. Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Over on this side, x minus 29 equals a negative 6. Well, I have minus 29, so to get rid of that minus 29, I add 29. If I add 29 to this side of the equation, I have to add 29 to this side. Minus 29 and a plus 29 are just going to leave me x over here. And now I have minus 6 negative 6, and I'm going to add 29, I'm going to have 23. If I pop it in, it's going to make sense. 23 minus 29 is going to be negative 6. Now, you may like to use railroad tracks, some teachers call them. They put this right down the equal sign so that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. Same thing over here, I could use them. I know my co-teacher, Mrs. Wooten, really enjoys these and uses them all the time. I'm good either way. However, whatever works best for you, as long as you do the same thing to both sides. And that's what my nutshell thing up here says. In a nutshell, you can add the same amount to both sides, or if you can subtract the same amount to both sides. Doesn't matter. Add or subtract. And I'll add that in here. What you're doing is, it allows you to isolate the variable. And when you isolate the variable, you end up with your answer right over here. Okay? All right, time for you to try a couple. Let's get rocking here. Go ahead and solve this subtraction equation. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, let's see how you did. Did you add 15 to both sides? Good, that would isolate the variable. Gets you down to 13. Pop it in. So 13 minus 15, negative 2. Nice work. Let's try another one. Go ahead and solve this one. All right, see how you did. Did you add 42 to both sides? Sweet. Did you end up with negative 36? Let's pop it in and see if it makes sense. Negative 36 minus 42. That's like negative 36 plus a negative 42. Sure, negative 78. You're right on the money. All right, let's try a couple more here. See if you can solve this addition equation. Okay, let's see how you did. Did you subtract 120 from both sides? Did you end up with negative 198? Did you check your work? Negative 198 plus 120 is negative 78. Good. All right. All right. Here's a little tricky one. See if you can figure this one out. All right, let's see how you did. Did you add 25 to both sides? You have to get rid of the minus 25. And when you do that, you end up with a equals 4. Let's see if it makes sense. Negative 25 plus 4, negative 21. Yes, good work. All right, here's a couple of problems for your ticket to the show. Remember to solve these equations by isolating the variable, balancing out both sides. Go ahead and give it a shot. Okie dokie then. Trivia question. How big is Madagascar? It's big. Look at it when you lay it on the top of the United States. It's huge. 226,658 miles squared. It's kind of hard to judge here, but watch when I overlay it on Minnesota. Yikes. Minnesota is only 0.38 the size. I mean, Madagascar is nearly 3 times the size Minnesota. Okay, kind of cool. All right, you always think of it's this little teeny island of Madagascar, but now you know how large Africa is if Madagascar looks so small sitting there next to it. All right, have a nice night. Thanks for listening. Bye.